If you feel physically and mentally exhausted by the end of your day and you wish you had more energy and you've been trying so hard to get your energy up, then you're going to want to hear this mindset habit of a highly energetic podcaster that I heard recently that blew my freaking mind. Welcome back to Hexotica, where creativity meets strategy and unconventional creative people build profitable online businesses. I'm Christine Rice, your marketing mentor, and this is episode 44. So I recently heard a highly energetic woman that I listened to on a podcast say something about her everyday energy that just completely reframed how I think about mental energy and mindset habits and physical energy and just how I am being productive throughout my day. Because as someone who has been working for herself for years, overcoming ADHD limitations, moving through perimenopause, and trying so hard to be a more productive person each day, this kind of blew my mind. I could not stop thinking about it. I thought about it every day, and it made so much sense. And I didn't understand why, even though I had understood her way of teaching for so long, I'd been listening to her for so long, it had never really clicked that this was one of the benefits, having more energy. And I believe that it's a mindset habit worth exploring if you are actively trying to build wealth, if you are trying to craft a more intentional, self-reliant AF alternative lifestyle, if you're trying to work on your big dreams, right? Because it has rewired how I've been thinking about my everyday energy levels, my time management, and my motivation. And especially around how to deal with the stress of just trying to stay resilient as fuck, dealing with business and building my marketing mentorship business, and especially in this economy, right? Because there's so many bad headlines. There's so much stress. There's so many people saying, "Oh, things are not working." It feels hard to be running a business right now. So this is I think going to be a very useful episode for you to listen to. So grab your broomstick, lovely witches, because we are about to take off. Now, if you are new to the podcast, welcome. This is the place to learn how to run a creative business, make a side income, or to start your own business. If you are a returning listener, then welcome back. I am so glad that you are here. I was not on last week, and I am going to explain why at the end of this podcast. I have a very good reason why I was not on the podcast last week. But let's get into the topic of energy today, because I think that this is something that is going to change how you live, literally, if it really hits you the way that it did for me. Because we talk a lot about protecting our energy from outside forces, quite a lot, right? Protecting it from toxic coworkers or a toxic ex or negative news headlines. In fact, I dedicated an entire podcast, number 30, to protection spells. Go and listen to episode number 30, Protection Spells to Hold Energetic Boundaries and Call Your Power Back with Emotional Support Witch, Madam Creatrix. That was an incredible interview. She is a true blood psychic. She shared some amazing stories with spiritual encounters, and she shared some very specific protection spells that you can use at work, in a protest, or in your home, even from negative energies that might be in your own home or around you, if you believe in that kind of thing. It's very, very fascinating. But this is about how to protect and create energy from within. Because I've never heard anyone ever say that they feel more energetic at the end of their day than at the beginning. And yet, this is what this podcaster said. She said she self-coaches herself throughout her days to create energy, and that it's a mindset habit that anyone can learn to do and to practice. And she said that that's what all her clients learn how to do as well. And that's what she teaches them. So that was crazy to hear because I almost never feel more energized by the end of my days. I don't know about you, but I'm far more likely to be a disassociated vegetable who lets her dog lick her face while zoning out on TikTok on my bed because I'm so tired at the end of most of my days, right? I mean, and granted, I've got the perimenopausal hormone thing happening now. My brain's not getting flooded with serotonin like it did when we were in our 20s. But even before that, when I was eating super clean, when I was vegan for a few years, and even when I was doing a lot more cardio than I do now, I rarely ended up my days feeling anything close to as energetic as I do in the mornings, right? So I was intrigued when I heard her say this. And I followed a lot of life coaches over the last few years, and it has absolutely changed my life for the better, especially being someone who's creative, unconventional, and neurodivergent, right? Because we are very sensitive and we, I think, are prone to having more anxiety and a more dysregulated nervous system. So, for example, I learned over the last few years that the best business advice in the world isn't going to help you stay consistent with your marketing if you can't regulate that nervous system, right? And the signs of a dysregulated nervous system, in case you don't know, are things like overwhelm, anxiety, agitation, lack of focus, looping thoughts, and impulsivity. Basically, all of our ADHD traits on turbocharge. Now, it's our thoughts that create the healthy habits that gives us the energy for our body and our brains, right? When we have thoughts that we want to be healthy, we can make the choices to eat the salad or the cleaner protein, to do the workout, and we will get our energy that way. Go to bed, all that, right? And these helpful thoughts, they help create emotions like feeling calm, like feeling resilient, like able to take on the world no matter what wrecking ball of stress flies into our life, right? Helpful thoughts can help us deal with things like when our Facebook account gets hacked, or we have a flat tire on our car, or the bloody interest rates go up again, or even just watching any of the US news, right? Like it's just such a shit bin fire over there that it can just be stressful and dysregulating just to even see the headlines. But negative, unhelpful thoughts about these things is what leads us to self-sabotage. And self-sabotage is when we eat way more than we need to, when we overdrink, when we stay up late on TikTok, when we disassociate, right? And healing self-sabotage sometimes will take a lot of deep work, especially if you've had a lot of trauma. And I know this because I worked with a psychologist who specialized in helping people with self-sabotage for over 6 years. So I learned a lot about the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, if you want to call it that, and how to heal these deeply ingrained ideas and beliefs and thoughts to help ourselves be more mindful of our emotions and our thoughts so that we can make the habits that we need to support our dreams, right? So all the self-sabotage that we have because we're not regulated, because we're not aware of these emotions, we're not aware of these thoughts, they're all the vices that are taking us away from our goals. Thought management is the secret mindset habit that most highly successful, highly energetic people understand. It's what sets them apart. It's their energy. They are switched on as fuck to their own minds. And people feel that. People feel that high frequency vibe of their being switched on, of their energy, and they want it. And this is why people have such high influence over other people, because everyone looks at them and they're like, I want that. I want that energy. Where do they get that? Now, I don't know about you, but for me, that is the essence of why this is so mind-blowing, because it means it's learnable. You can learn to have energy. You can learn to create energy, and you can learn to create the energy that will then help you have influence and become successful. Because it's going to inspire other people, and they're going to be looking at you going, how did you get that? Right? So knowing that now, as a marketing mentor who helps creative and unconventional and neurospicy women and gender diverse creatives learn how to start and run businesses and do their marketing, I will always include aspects of thought management into how I mentor people online. How could I not? How can you know this stuff and not help people? Because it's everything, it's the foundation. So I think it is an essential skill to become and stay self-employed. I really do. You need to be able to increase your capacity for stress to stay resilient. Running a business, it can be very hard. You need a mindset that will help you to keep going, get your butt off the couch when you've got another post to write, right? To me, teaching strategy and tactics without teaching mindset habits is like trying to cook a meal with only the ingredients and not pots and pans. Like, how could you not have this as the foundation? Otherwise, you might as well just go watch a bunch of YouTube videos and marketing tactics and strategies, right? But the real magic is, how do we know these marketing tactics and strategies, and how do we implement them? How do we get ourselves to get motivated? How do we clear away the overwhelm? How do we get started, right? That was the real secret for me with understanding thought management. It helped me to get past that overwhelm, that lack of clarity. It helped me to get started. And so now I am absolutely going to share what I've learned and teach it as much as possible when I mentor. Okay, so here's what highly energetic people prioritize over self-discipline. Because here's something that I noticed a few years ago, right? The most energetic people that I personally know, they're kind of messy. They are not the super scheduled, time-blocked, rigidly disciplined people who have to say no to alcohol or parties to get their goals done, right? Those people are highly functional, but I was never struck by the physical energy of a highly disciplined person the same way other energetic people struck me, right? You know the ones, the people who are full of laughter, who have a million friends, who manage to do a million creative things. They're always in different classes, running around doing different activities, who are like energizer bunnies, right? Those are the people I'm talking about. They're bubbly, they're charismatic, they're energetic as fuck people. For example, I have a friend who is a single mom. She has 3 kids. She has a full-time shift-based job as a midwife. And yet she is the first person that I always think about when I think about a highly energetic as fuck person, right? She's highly energetic, magnetic. She is just absolutely charismatic and just full of energy, right? A badass. Her social schedule is non-stop. Parties, potlucks, music festivals, protests, kirtan lessons, and all of her kids' school events and their activities and their friends and all, just running around nonstop, right? She loves socializing though, and she loves meeting new people. And her house is never spotless, okay? It's often a bit messy, but like her lifestyle, it's full of life. It's full of color. It's full of art. It's full of joy. I've never, ever seen this queen tired. I mean, even after some of the most epic all-nighters that we've shared together over the years, and we've had some serious benders, believe me. Oh boy, we have. I've always wondered how she gets so much energy to be around so many people all of the time, right? But now I believe I get it, right? It's not just that she's an extrovert. She is a bit of an extrovert, right? But it's the energy that she creates with her ability to find joy in everything. Her gratitude, her positivity, her way of staying fully awake to life, her children's spiritual growth, and to her friends. She really embodies that goddess, matriarchal, loving energy of a fully alive woman. The difference in someone like her, I believe, is that besides perhaps being a bit more extroverted, right? She's focused on her desires and not on self-discipline. When we focus on desire, we reaffirm what serves us in our lives. We're reminding ourselves that all of our hardships that we face throughout our day have a purpose, and that purpose serves us. Those thoughts about purpose serve us, right? They help us achieve our goals. So for example, one thing that I find super useful On the days when my internet is laggy as fuck, my keyboard stops working, or I spill coffee on it, or my dog is vomiting on her electric blanket because she ate some wombat poo or some other shit, is to remind myself that everything that I'm doing now is a choice. I say to myself, I choose this. I am grateful that I have this opportunity. Here I am working from home in my velvet yoga pants, able to take as many pee breaks as I want without an office boss giving me side eye like my boss used to, able to earn as much or as little as I like based on how hard I am willingly choosing to work for my dreams. It's great, right? I feel fucking lucky. And when I have that thought, it really recharges me. It gives me energy. That is what this life coach podcaster said that she does all day long, over and over all day, especially in the hardest, most stressful moments when everything is breaking, getting hacked, beeping, vomiting, screaming, and crashing, right? What an amazing way to live, right? This is the secret of energetic people who create an enormous capacity to take on stress. Energetic people manage their thoughts, they process their emotions, and they stay mindful. They are creating energy rather than losing it. This is why they seem to have so freaking much of it. It's why way more than the rest of us who are trying to use willpower and self-discipline to create energy through our habits, right? This is why so many of them seem so high vibe and so happy. If there was an essence of creating a exotic as fuck, self-reliant alternative lifestyle, it's got to be this. Crafting thoughts and emotions that serve our big dream. This is the bottom. This is the essence. This is the work. I really believe that. This is the secret. So at this point, you might be wondering how to do this, right? So here's how to create more energy like highly energetic people do. So your energy is like a flowing river of water. It can either flow everywhere, undirected, wasted, or you can craft waterways and direct it to a water wheel to create energy, right? Undirected thoughts that flood our minds with negativity, with fears, with anxieties, distractions, and looping thoughts, they're going to leave you feeling depleted, empty, and lost by the end of your day. That's when you really feel frazzled and just exhausted, right? All day long, you've been struggling with negative thoughts, with negative ideas. You've been feeling a bit pulled down by self-criticism or interpretations of things that are catastrophizing. It's exhausting, right? And there's a sense that you have to just keep pushing and pushing and pushing to get things done, right? Now, imagine you constantly remember to direct your thoughts toward the water wheel. The water wheel is your big dream. It's all your desires. So you practice being present with your thoughts. You pay attention to the sentences and the charge that each sentence that you think about brings. That charge is the emotion. Staying mindful, it's going to feel like a lot of work, right? But you either direct your mind or it's going to direct you. And a brain that runs around freely and floods everywhere is always going to drain you, literally, right? It's going to wander, it's going to get lost, and it's going to lead you back to some pretty dark thoughts occasionally. So it wants to feel comfortable, right? It wants to feel safe. It wants to procrastinate. It wants to say, I'm too overwhelmed and give up, right? It's disassociation. It wants to self-sabotage. And it's no wonder that when you feel that way, that all of those activities that you're trying to do, pushing, trying to not feel that way about them, is going to leave you really drained, right? It leads to mental and physical fatigue. Your brain is like a bratty toddler that doesn't want to do what adult you wants it to do. It's wasted, unused energy that just spills into floods of unwanted emotions, thought loops, and rumination. Some days, especially if you're perimenopausal, you will need to remind yourself that your brain is just not reliable in that moment, right? There's days when you know that you didn't get adequate sleep, for example, or when you've had an argument with your husband. You're not going to be able to get as much done as you like on those days, right? And you're not going to be able to think as clearly as you would like. So forcing yourself to finish something is just going to make you feel worse. Allowing is the key at these times. You've got to be willing to feel what emotions are coming up. And that means taking some time out to process them. What I like to do during these times is when my body is like completely out of whack, is to spend a bit longer doing yoga, walking my dogs, or I'll have a really, really long hot bath, like 2 hours long. And when I've got a lot going on in my head, then I need to go and journal it out. I journal every 2 weeks, and I literally can feel when there's too much, like it's almost like a buildup in my head, and I've got to journal to get it all out. So I'll go to a cafe, or I'll write in my bed, and I'll do some scripting, or I'll make a list, or I'll just write in my diary, right? Any of those are fine. Like I find if I'm really, really tired, sometimes just writing a bullet point list is a great way to kind of recharge myself and to get my thoughts out of my head. But resisting that proper rest time to process our emotions, it's just going to make those negative feelings and thoughts stick around longer. And that is going to deplete more and more of our energy over time. So you got to clean it up. You got to clean it out and clean it up, right? You got to clean it up with self-compassion and really nurturing your body and your soul. And so instead of zoning out with TV, get all of your emotions out, right? Journal them out or make a list. Do this to hear your own thoughts. It's not about self-indulgence, right? It's about self-compassion. For me, because I'm a manifesting witch, this is also where my self-care rituals and protective spell work can come in. So this is sacred time that I give to myself to refocus on my desires. And everyone deserves to give themselves some sacred time, I believe, especially if you are very busy, if you're a busy business owner, or if you're very stressed out parents. And I know it can be really hard for parents especially, but you've got to make this time for yourself. You will have more to give to your family and to your children if you make this time for yourself. We all need this self-care time to strengthen and expand our vision of what we truly desire from our lives, right? This time to intentionally craft our lifestyle. We use this sacred time to intentionally craft our dream lifestyle, to work on our beliefs for what's possible for us. All right, so to summarize, energetic people are energized more by their desires than by self-discipline. They lead their lives feeling pulled, not pushed, which is one of my favorite mottos. Feel pulled, not pushed. They intentionally choose to think about what they want, and in so doing, they move toward something rather than lament and complain all day in their heads about what they don't want and what they don't like and what's stressing them out, right? They don't feel like a victim. They don't feel resentful. They let that go. They allow themselves to feel emotions and to reframe things. And I've talked a lot about reframing on this podcast, especially in episode number 1, where I shared my 10-part strategy on exactly how to reframe your entire life so that you can feel better about everything in your past and your present and about yourself right now. Because it's so important to be able to feel that way. It's so important to feel gratitude. And this is truly powerful manifestational energy if we can do it too, if you think about it. If you are always focused on what you want and not on what you do not want, it's going to help you become a more powerful manifester, right? And it's going to help you stay in a state of gratitude and abundance all the time. So if you master this, you'll increase your capacity to deal with so much more in your life, right? This way of thinking, desire first, not discipline first, it gives you energy. It creates energy. And I, for one, am already practicing it as much as possible every single day. And I will continue to practice, and I'll let you know how it goes. But I hope that you can take from this the idea that being exhausted at the end of the day is not, you don't have to feel that way. If you can charge yourself up over and over with every incident, every stressful moment, everything bad that happens, recharge it, reframe it, process it, and feel better about it in any way that you can, because it's not always going to be easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but the reframing is a strategy, and the feeling gratitude for some things is a choice. All right, so before I tell you about my week and say goodbye, I want you to know about the Self-Reliance Rituals newsletter. If you really enjoyed today's topic and you would love to hear what daily rituals can help you create more energy in your life, manage your thoughts, and definitely create more self-reliance so you can have more time, location, and financial freedom in your life, then sign up for the Self-Reliance Rituals newsletter. This is a special themed 10 email sequence of self-transforming daily habits that will help you kickstart your mental and financial independence. It will help you go from a hot mess to a boss bitch with just one new self-reliance rituals and each email. So to sign up for that, go to self-reliance-rituals.hexotica.link. I will leave the link in the show notes. All right, so now we have come to the end of the podcast. I'm going to quickly sum up what I did last week and then tell you what we're going to do next week, because I'm super excited about next week. So last week, I had to take a week off the podcast because I had been kicking to the future, kick, the writing of my sales pages for my mentoring offers. So I want you to know, if you are running a business or if you're thinking about running a business, that you do not need a lot of fancy software in the beginning, right? I literally have been running this business so far with PayPal links, DM conversations, and Google Docs, right? And you can get really, really far with just those. You don't need a super fancy website. But as some of you might know, I'm moving over from an old software that I was using. So I had my sales pages up. I had even had a copywriter look over them and everything for me, had an audit. But I hadn't put them on my new website on Go High Level at hexotica.online. Well, last week I was like, fuck it, I've got to take some time out. I've got to get this done. It's such an important thing to get an asset like that built. And I was tired of sending people to a Google Doc. So I got the sales pages done. They're not up yet, but they will be very soon. Hopefully by the time this podcast gets scheduled, we'll see. So that was last week. And I'm happy to say that I took that time out. It was strategic inconsistency. As my motto is, with being a solopreneur and one-woman show right now, that I never miss twice. And I've said this before with a podcast. If I miss a week, it's only 1 week and I will be back. Sometimes you got to make sacrifices. And so I count it as a strategic default, right? Now, as for next week, some of you who have been into the law of attraction and energetics may know of Melanie Ann Lair. Yes? She's like a rock star marketer, and she happens to be my best friend's favorite marketer. She's not really my cup of tea, but she's very, very fascinating and very controversial because she teaches energetics and she teaches marketing, and she is $100 million guru marketer. Like, this woman is amazing, but a lot of people hate her, and they hate her because she uses a cult marketing tactic, right? Well, next week, I'm going to share something that I've been sharing with some friends and with some marketers, and it's an analysis of a Melanie Ann Lair live video. And it's what I found. And it's going to be fucking fascinating. So don't miss next week's podcast. In the meantime, build your business, work hard, have a great week. Thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed this podcast, leave a Hexia on any of the social media, the Hexotica social media channels, or on the YouTube channel. And I will see you next week. Bye.